All right, guys, in this video, I'm going to show you 3 different ways of doing gradients in Adobe Illustrator. So as you can see in this file right here, we have 3 different types. On the top, we have the linear, then we have the radial, and then we have the freeform. Freeform is the newer one. That's the one that you're going to try to do, I guess, more complex type of gradients with. You can see this one just comes from one point and goes out in a circular pattern or oval pattern. And this one just goes from right to left, left to right, or even angles. You can see that the sunset right here on the left is mimicked in these colors that I chose right here. All right, I'm going to show you how to do all 3. First, I'm going to create a new document. So I'm going to go to File, New. And I'm just going to click on letter right there because I already created the rectangle, the circle, and the rectangle. Again, I just copied it from that other one, but you could create a rectangle, a circle, and another rectangle at the bottom to play around with this. So first thing, the one on the top, I'm going to do a linear gradient. So by selecting it with the selection tool, and then going to the gradient tool right here. But before we do that, just in case, so that you're looking at it in the same way I am, go up to Window at the top. Right? So Window, Workspace, and if you already have Essentials Classic clicked, do Reset Essentials Classic. But if not, then just click on Essentials Classic. I'm going to reset it just in case. There it is. And you can see that my tools are in 2 columns. If it's not, just click right there, those double arrows, and make it 2 columns. So it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's the 10th tool on the left. If you don't see that, just click and hold it down on the 10th tool that's there, but that's the gradient tool. All right. Now with the gradient tool, I could create a gradient in here. I'm going to just click, and you can see it created that gradient from black to white. Now I could also click and drag, and I could create it from an angle, from here to there. You probably want to go outside of the box to get like that smoother transition. Because as you can see, if you do it right in the middle, I mean, the background is white, so you don't really see much of a difference there. But you can see it's like a harder edge to it. But yeah, that is the gradient tool for linear. And now you have right over here on the palette on the right, you click on that, and you could customize it even more. For example, you're not always going to want black and white. So if you want it light blue to dark blue, right, you could double click here, right? And again, that was by clicking on the thing on the right. I already have my rectangle selected, so it knows what I want to edit. I click right here. I double click on this one, and I could change the color here. I have 3 different ways of doing it. You either go to the color palette itself, and of course it's in black and white right now, but you could change that by clicking right over here on the top right. Change it to RGB, and you could change it to a customized color that you want. The other way is with the palette, and you can select colors that are within your palette, or you could eyedrop. This one is actually very useful when you have a picture right next to you. You could just eyedrop. Actually, I'll show you right here. For example, if I had this one in black and white, let me just do that. If I had this one in black and white, and I said to myself, you know what, I actually don't want that rectangle in black and white. Let me move this thing over. Here you go. If I wanted to mimic this, I turn this to 90 degrees, by the way, because usually it's like this from one side to another, but I change the angle to 90 degrees. And then I say, instead of black, double click on it, I do the eyedropper, and I click on this blue. And instead of the white, double click on that, eyedropper, click on this orange right here. Now I could create more colors in between, and I'll show you over here, right? I could create more colors in between. For example, if I wanted one, let me just change this black to like a blue, there. If I wanted more colors in between, I could click right at the bottom of it. You see it has that plus sign. If I'm up the top, it's just a regular selection tool. Towards the bottom, it's the direct selection tool looking thing with a plus on it. It's going to add a new color back there. So here it is. And I could change that color to be something completely different. I could also change how much of an intensity there is, like more light blue as opposed to the white, less light blue and more white, and I could change that transition. So that's a linear gradient. Now I have the radial one, which I'm going to try in the circle right here. It does lend itself more to circles, so that's why we're using it for that. But if I click right here, you can see I have a radial gradient. Now, it is keeping the colors from here. If you don't want that, you could click and drag these colors out, right? I can make it more intense for this, less intense for the blue. I'm sorry, more intense for the blue, and a little bit more concentrated on the white. And if you don't want it directly in the middle, the gradient tool here, you could click it wherever you want. You could also click and drag the same way that you did with the linear gradient, and I can have it come from different angles. Now for the last one, the freeform, I select it with the selection tool, and you can see my foreground color is just white right now. I click on the gradient tool, and then over here on the same palette on the right, I have all of these different options, right? Freeform. When I click on that, I have these 4 points right here. Now, it automatically gives you those 4 points. Usually it's from a gradient that you already selected. You could use points, which are these 4 points, or you could use lines. Lines do get a little bit more confusing, at least for me, to manage, but I'll show you the difference. So with points and the gradient tool, you could click and move this point over. Now this point right here, you could change the color by double clicking on it. Again, palette, well, the colors, the palette, the eyedrop, you could do the same things on it, but I'm gonna select different colors just to make it interesting. All right, that pink, double click on this one, maybe this yellow, this one, some kind of blue, this one, some kind of white, actually just white. Now you can see it gives you a very interesting thing. If you were trying to create a sky that had those kind of colors in it, which would be crazy, there you go. But if you wanted to customize it, you can move them, and look at what happens when you put them close to each other, especially ones that are like very far away from each other, like black or white. Like if I wanted to make this black and then I went to put it near white, it's such a difference that you're gonna see almost like a shape being formed around it, right? Because again, it's blending those different tools right there. So this is the freeform, this is the radial, and this is the linear. Now you could use that in so many different settings. Play around with it, see what happens. Enjoy, guys.